The woman scrubbing the toilets in the backstage bathroom of the Marquis Theater on Broadway looked exhausted. Her gray hair was pulled back under a worn baseball cap. Her face was lined with years of hard work, and her hands were red and cracked from years of cleaning chemicals. She wore the standard-issue blue uniform of the night cleaning crew, and she moved with the invisible efficiency of someone who'd spent a lifetime being overlooked. Nobody recognized her. Not the stage crew packing up after the show, not the assistant managers doing their final rounds, not the security guards smoking cigarettes by the stage door. Nobody saw Madonna. That was exactly the point. 3 weeks earlier, Madonna had been scrolling through Twitter when she came across something that made her blood run cold. It was an anonymous post from an account called @BroadwayWorkerTruths, and it said, "Working the Madonna show at Marquis Theater. Management is stealing tips, harassing women, and treating crew like garbage. She has no idea what's happening in her own venue." Madonna stared at that tweet for a long time. Then she started reading the replies. Dozens of them, all anonymous, all telling similar stories. Tip theft, sexual harassment, bullying, racist comments, all happening in a theater where her name was literally on the marquee, where her production was supposed to represent empowerment and artistic freedom. She called her tour manager immediately. "What the hell is going on at the marquee?" "What do you mean? Everything's running smoothly. Gary says the venue operations are perfect." Gary Thompson was the venue manager Madonna had hired based on glowing recommendations. He'd worked Broadway venues for 20 years, knew everyone, had connections everywhere. On paper, he was perfect. "I'm seeing complaints on social media," Madonna said. "Anonymous complaints about management." "Madonna, you know how social media is. Disgruntled employees, people who got fired, making stuff up. Gary runs a tight ship. If there were real problems, we'd know about it." But Madonna couldn't shake the feeling that something was deeply wrong. She'd spent 40 years in the entertainment industry. She knew the difference between random complaints and a pattern. And this was definitely a pattern. So she made a decision that would shock everyone around her. She was going undercover. The transformation took 3 days and a team of professional makeup artists who specialized in age prosthetics. They added 25 years to her face, gave her gray hair, contact lenses that changed her eye color, and most importantly, taught her to move differently. Not with the confident, commanding presence of Madonna, but with the hunched, invisible posture of a woman the world had taught to make herself small. Her name was Maria Sacconi, using her real last name, figuring nobody would make the connection. She was 56 years old, a recent immigrant from Mexico, spoke limited English, needed the job desperately. She applied through a temp agency that supplied cleaning staff to Broadway venues. Gary Thompson hired her without a second glance. Her first night was a Tuesday in October 2017. Madonna arrived at the Marquis Theater at 11 p.m., wearing her disguise and her blue cleaning uniform. The night supervisor, a tired-looking woman named Betty, barely looked at her. "You're the new one, Maria?" "Yes, ma'am." "Good. You'll be doing bathrooms tonight. All the bathrooms, public, crew, dressing rooms. Then you help with the main theater. We finish by 5 a.m. You get 2 10-minute breaks and 30 minutes for lunch. You don't touch anything that doesn't need to be cleaned, you don't talk to anyone who isn't crew, and you definitely don't take pictures. Got it?" Betty handed her a cart loaded with cleaning supplies and walked away. Madonna looked at the cart: industrial cleaner, mops, buckets, toilet brushes, rubber gloves, and felt something she hadn't felt in years. She felt invisible. For the first 2 hours, she cleaned bathrooms, public bathrooms that audiences had used during the show, leaving behind everything you'd expect. Crew bathrooms that were somehow worse. Dressing room bathrooms where she scrubbed mirrors and counters and toilets, seeing the space where performers had prepared for her show, not knowing she was the one cleaning up after them. It was during her third hour, around 2 a.m., that she met Rosa Martinez. Rosa was cleaning the orchestra pit when Madonna rolled her cart past. She was a small woman, maybe 5'2", with a warm face and hands that looked like they'd been working hard for decades. She was singing softly to herself in Spanish while she worked, and when she saw Madonna struggling with a heavy bucket of water, she immediately stopped what she was doing. "Here, let me help you with that," Rosa said in Spanish. "Thank you," Madonna replied in her practiced Spanish accent. "I'm new, Maria." "Rosa, don't worry, you'll get used to it. It's hard work, but we help each other, okay?" They worked together for a while, and Rosa talked. She had 3 kids, 19, 17, and 14. She worked 2 jobs, this one and a day job cleaning office buildings. Her husband had died 6 years ago. She was trying to save money to send her oldest to college. "This job is good," Rosa said. "The pay is okay. The only problem is—" She trailed off, glancing around nervously. "What?" Madonna asked. "Nothing. Just some of the managers. You be careful, okay? Especially around Gary and Mark." Before Madonna could ask more, a voice echoed through the theater. "Stop socializing and get back to work." A man in his 40s, wearing a polo shirt with management embroidered on it, was glaring at them from the stage entrance. This was Brad Miller, the assistant venue manager. "Sorry, Mr. Miller," Rosa said quickly, her entire demeanor changing. She became smaller, more apologetic, moving quickly back to her work. Brad walked over to Madonna. "You're new?" "Yes, sir." "Well, learn this now. We don't pay you to chat. We pay you to clean. You got a problem with that? There's 50 people who'd take your job tomorrow." "No problem, sir." "Good. Now get back to work." He walked away, and Madonna felt an anger rising in her chest that she had to force down. She wanted to say something, do something, but Maria wouldn't. Maria needed this job. Over the next 3 days, Madonna saw things that made her increasingly furious. She saw Gary Thompson, the venue manager, taking money from the tip jar that was supposed to be split among the crew. She saw Mark Davidson, the security chief, corner a young female stagehand and make comments about her body that made the girl visibly uncomfortable. She saw Brad Miller systematically bully Rosa, criticizing her work even when it was perfect, making her redo tasks that didn't need redoing, finding excuses to dock her pay. And she saw Rosa take it all without complaining, because Rosa needed this job to feed her kids. On the 4th night, Madonna was cleaning the management office after hours when she found something that made her blood run cold. It was a spreadsheet on Gary's desk, left open on his computer. It showed systematic wage theft, hours being shaved off timesheets, overtime being denied, tips being redirected into a separate account. Rosa worked 63 hours last week. Her timesheet said 45. Madonna took a picture with a small camera, hidden in her cleaning cart. On the 5th night, she witnessed Mark Davidson corner Rosa in the basement storage area. Madonna was around the corner, unseen. "You know, Rosa, if you were nicer to me, maybe I could talk to Gary about getting you better hours. I just want to do my job, Mr. Davidson." "That's not very friendly. I'm trying to help you out here." Rosa's voice was shaking. "Please, I need to get back to work." "You know what? Maybe you're not a good fit for this team. Maybe we should talk to Gary about letting you go." That's when Madonna stepped around the corner. She said she needs to get back to work. Mark turned, looking at this old cleaning woman with annoyance. "This doesn't concern you. Get back to your station." "No," Madonna said, and her voice had changed. The accent was dropping, the posture was straightening. "I don't think I will." Mark's face changed. Something in her voice, in the way she was standing, was setting off alarm bells. "Do you know who you're talking to?" he said, trying to establish dominance. "Yes," Madonna said. "Do you know who you're talking to?" She took off the baseball cap. The gray wig came with it. Underneath was Madonna's real hair, pulled back but unmistakable. Mark Davidson went white. "Oh God," he whispered. Rosa gasped, staring at Madonna with her mouth open. "Rosa," Madonna said gently, I need you to come with me. You're not in trouble, but I need you to be present for what's about to happen." What happened next would become the stuff of Broadway legend. Madonna, still in her cleaning uniform but now clearly herself, walked into the theater, where the night crew was gathered for their break. About 30 people, including Gary Thompson, Brad Miller, and several other managers. "Good evening," Madonna said, walking into the middle of the room. Gary's coffee cup fell from his hand and shattered on the floor. "Madonna?" Brad stammered. Why are you?" "For the past 5 nights," Madonna said, her voice carrying through the space with the command of someone who'd performed for stadium crowds. "I've been working as part of your night cleaning crew. My name was Maria. Some of you worked with me. Some of you bullied me. Some of you harassed me. None of you recognized me." She pulled out a folder from her cleaning cart. Inside were photographs, documents, recordings. "Gary Thompson, you've been stealing from the tip pool. I have spreadsheets showing systematic wage theft. I have photos of you taking money from the crew tip jar. I have recordings of you bragging to other managers about how the stupid cleaners don't notice when their hours are shaved." Gary tried to speak, but no words came out. "Brad Miller, you've been systematically bullying Rosa Martinez, one of the hardest working people in this building. I watched you berate her for nothing. I watched you dock her pay unfairly. I watched you try to break her spirit because it made you feel powerful." Brad's face had gone from red to white. "Mark Davidson, you've been sexually harassing female staff members. I witnessed it personally. I have testimony from 6 women who were afraid to report you because you threatened their jobs." Madonna turned to face the entire room. "As of right now, all 3 of you are fired. Security will escort you from the building. You'll be hearing from my lawyers, and I will personally ensure that everyone in this industry knows what you did." The room erupted. Crew members were crying, some in relief, some in shock. Several people had their phones out, recording. Gary found his voice. "You can't do this. You don't have the authority." "This is my production," Madonna said coldly. "My name, my reputation, and I absolutely have the authority. Get out of my theater." Security, different security, ones Madonna had called in personally. Their protests echoed down the hallway until the doors closed. Madonna turned to the remaining staff, her voice softening. "For those of you who've been working honestly, who've been doing your jobs with dignity, despite how you've been treated, thank you. Things are going to change. Effective immediately, everyone's wages are increasing by 40%. All stolen tips will be repaid with interest. We're implementing a profit-sharing program, and we're establishing a direct line to report problems that goes straight to me, not through management that might retaliate." She paused, looking at Rosa, who was standing against the wall in complete shock. Rosa Martinez has been working 2 jobs to support her family, while being systematically abused by management. She helped me on my first night when I was struggling. She was kind when she thought I was nobody. Rosa, how would you feel about working 1 job instead of 2? Rosa's eyes filled with tears. "I'm offering you the position of head of venue operations. Salary of $120,000 per year, full benefits, and a housing stipend. You'd be in charge of making sure what happened here never happens in any of my venues again." Rosa's knees actually buckled. Another crew member caught her. "I don't understand," Rosa whispered. "I'm just a cleaning lady." "No," Madonna said firmly. "You're someone who knows how this building actually works. You're someone who's been on the other side of bad management. You're someone who cares about people. That makes you more qualified than anyone else I could hire." The room erupted in cheers. People were hugging Rosa, crying, celebrating. The story broke the next morning. Madonna goes undercover in her own theater, fires entire management team, was trending worldwide within hours. The photos, Madonna in her cleaning uniform, the shocked faces of the fired managers, Rosa crying when she was promoted. But the real story wasn't just about the firings, it was about what came after. Rosa Martinez became the first Latina head of venue operations on Broadway. She implemented what became known as Rosa's Rules, a worker-first culture that spread to every venue associated with Madonna's productions. Direct reporting lines for complaints, regular anonymous surveys, surprise inspections, zero tolerance for harassment or wage theft. Gary Thompson, Brad Miller, and Mark Davidson all faced legal consequences. Gary was prosecuted for wage theft. Mark was sued by multiple women and settled out of court. Brad was blacklisted from the industry. Their careers were over. But more importantly, 30 crew members who'd been suffering in silence suddenly had hope. They had fair pay, they had protection, they had someone in charge who understood what it was like to clean toilets at 2 a.m. while being treated like you were invisible. 2 years later, Rosa spoke at a Broadway industry conference. "Madonna didn't just give me a job," she said. "She showed me that the people who do the work nobody sees are the ones who understand how to make things better. She showed me that being underestimated doesn't mean being powerless." Madonna was in the audience that day. She was crying. In interviews afterward, Madonna was asked why she did it, why she spent 5 nights scrubbing toilets when she could have just sent investigators. "Because I needed to see it myself," she said. "I needed to feel what it's like to be invisible, to be talked down to work yourself to exhaustion while people steal from you and harass you and treat you like you don't matter. If I hadn't experienced it, I could have made surface changes. But experiencing it meant I understood what needed to change at every level." She paused, "And I needed to meet Rosa. If I'd just sent investigators, they would have documented the problems and recommended firing people. But they wouldn't have recognized that the person cleaning the toilets at 2 a.m. knew more about running that venue than any of the managers. They wouldn't have seen her heart. I had to be there to see that." Today, if you visit any venue running a Madonna production, you'll see a small plaque near the employee entrance. It reads, "Everyone who works here matters. No exceptions. Rosa's Rules." Rosa Martinez still works for Madonna. She now oversees operations for all of Madonna's theatrical productions worldwide. She's trained dozens of venue managers in the Rosa's Rules system. She's become a sought-after speaker on worker dignity and ethical management. And 3 nights a week, at whatever venue she's working, Rosa still does a walkthrough with the night cleaning crew. She knows all their names. She asks about their families. She makes sure they're being treated fairly. Because she remembers what it was like to be invisible. And she makes damn sure nobody in her venues feels that way ever again. Gary Thompson is working at a car wash in New Jersey. Brad Miller couldn't get hired anywhere in entertainment and now works in his brother's insurance office. Mark Davidson faced multiple lawsuits and left the industry entirely. Meanwhile, the woman they thought was just an old cleaning lady who they could ignore and abuse, she's still changing how the entire entertainment industry treats its workers. The night Madonna revealed herself in that theater, one crew member managed to capture the moment on video. Mark Davidson's face when he realized the cleaning woman he'd been harassing was Madonna. Gary Thompson dropping his coffee cup. Brad Miller's expression of pure terror. That video has been viewed over 200 million times. But the part that always makes people cry is the end. When Madonna hugs Rosa and tells her she's not just a cleaning lady. When Rosa breaks down and says, "Nobody ever saw me before. I see you now," Madonna says in the video, "and I'm making sure everyone else does too." If you've ever felt invisible at work, if you've ever been underestimated because of what you do, if you've ever worked hard while being treated like you don't matter, this story is for you. Share it with someone who needs to be reminded that their work has value. Subscribe for more stories about people who use their power to lift others up instead of keeping them down. And leave a comment about a time when someone saw you when you thought you were invisible. Because the most powerful thing anyone can do is make someone who's been treated as invisible feel seen. That's what Madonna did for Rosa. That's what Rosa now does for hundreds of workers across Broadway. And that's what we all should be doing for each other.